Hello, lovely people. Lovely to be back. I am thrilled to be back, actually. Couldn't wait to get back to vlogging. And I've done a tiny bit of sewing to show you. Nothing too major. Well, I've been away since July. I noted like the last vlog that I put up was nearly 3 months ago now. So I do apologise. I fully intended to be back for probably the end of September, but it just didn't happen. Welcome to anybody who's new. My name's Karen. This is Karen Sew Slowly. This is the second recording I've done of this. This is basically to explain where I've been for people who don't know, and for those of you who knew I was moving house, give you a catch up on what happened. And I blithered on yesterday for half an hour, a full half an hour, with all my other usual digressions that I usually put into these vlogs. And I couldn't believe it took me half an hour to explain the move. But I did say before I went off that everything is a drama in our lives. We buy a dog, she's pregnant. We buy a house, we'll have the worst storm in the last 60 years and the roof blows off. You know, that's not this house, fortunately. This is the sort of thing we're talking about. Nothing runs smoothly in our lives. Nothing runs clockwork, or, you know, there's always a drama. So there was a drama. So basically we were meant to move on Thursday the 29th of August. We were just moving across the road. Yeah, it just didn't go as planned. So on the Thursday, we'd asked the lady whose drive is next to ours downstairs, we said, could we borrow your drive when you're at work because we're moving on Thursday? Yes, no problem. She was lovely about it. So on Thursday, when the move didn't happen, all the crap from our garage that, you know, husband thought essential was piled up on that drive next to our double drive as we have now. They're very posh. So all of our rubbish was on display for a full 8 hours for anybody to come and view and wonder what on earth was going on, because although there was moving vans in the street, there was nothing happening with those moving vans on Thursday. So it didn't happen Thursday, and all of our stuff then had to go back like a Tetris puzzle into our garage. Well, it wasn't going to happen. You know yourself, if you unpack something like a new sewing machine, you kind of get it back in the box the way it went. Well, nothing would go back in the garage the way it went. And bless the friends that were helping us, you know, they were trying to put things in and that, but there was only Lewis had an in-house as to how we'd all got it in there in the first place. So all the lovely neighbours, and this was the beauty of just moving across the road, obviously, all the neighbours came out and offered their garages to put stuff in. So we had stuff. We had our old garage, which was still our garage on the Thursday night. We had that packed to the rafters again. We had stuff next door. We had stuff 2 doors up. Absolutely ridiculous. And then we even put some stuff, I think, in my new garage in this house. But of course, that all had to come out the next day because we thought we were going to move on the Friday. The other side of that is, regular viewers will know that I get chemo every 3 weeks, and the chemo was due to fall on the Thursday. So I moved it to the Friday so that I could be there for the move, helping everybody. We had some lovely friends came to help us, and they were there all day Thursday, basically wasting their time because it didn't happen. So on the Friday, when it hadn't actually yet started, when I went off at about 2:15, 2:45 for chemo, toodaloo, off I go. Another 2 lots of friends had come to help with the move as well, and not a single box had been moved over from our old house to our new house. So I went away fully expecting, well, it might be done when I get back, hopefully, and no, it wasn't. So it didn't happen on the Friday either, and I came back from chemo singing at the top of my lungs to me James Blunt, and everybody was standing with these hangdog expressions, which matched perfectly the expressions everybody had on Thursday afternoon as well. So obviously it didn't happen then. So our lovely friends put us up in their house over the weekend, because at that point our stuff was in this house. We owned this house. The lady who lived here owned the house that she was moving to. But the money didn't go into that lady's account. And I call her a lady because she was a woman, not because she was a lady. She refused to move on the Friday. Now, bearing in mind, we'd begun all pushed everything aside. The chap that was buying our house, he'd finished a holiday early to move on the Thursday because this lady said she was going to lose a deposit. She said she had an operation on her foot that she was going to have to move. And then the lady we were buying from promptly said, well, yes, but the lady who was buying my house has shifted her chemo, so you could shift your operation. You know, everybody's bending over backwards to get you in before the end of August so that you don't lose your deposit that you said you were going to lose. But she told that many fibs over the course of the thing, and it turned out she was a really nasty, nasty woman that I think, and that's all I'm going to say before I get done for slander, I just don't tend to believe that anything she said was true. And was she really going to lose a deposit? Because she delayed it. In the end, we didn't get in until the following Tuesday, the 2nd of September. So everything of the lady we were buying from was on the wagons. She spent the full weekend, the full 4 or 5 days from the Friday through to the Tuesday in the same outfit. Bless the lovely neighbours round here, and you'll see it if I do a house tour, but there's a hole in the hedge at the back, and there's a bungalow's garden runs up the end of our garden. And when we looked at the house, we'd been told, oh, if you leave that hole in that hedge, you get a Sunday dinner pass through. And the lovely couple that live on the walkway were passing food through for this lady all weekend. So she was well fed and watered because it was our, I mean, I'd said to her, use whatever she wanted. It was our food in her fridge, our food in her freezer. She was sitting on our settee, watching our telly. All of her things were on the van. And then, as well as that, she was surrounded by boxes that contained all of our stuff. She had nothing of hers. Fortunately, she was leaving us a virtually new double bed, and the bedding hadn't been packed for that bed, so her and her son were able to stay here over the weekend. Otherwise she would have been in our bed as well, which is not something you really want, to sleep in somebody else's bed. So that was a good thing. Eventually this lady agreed to move on the Tuesday, and it wasn't till 5:30 on the Tuesday afternoon the following week that we got moved. We had a glorious weekend being pampered and looked after in a beautiful house, and it was glorious, and really it spoilt us for coming back here because they have, I'm talking homes and gardens, people. It's beautiful. I always come back from that house thinking I live in a cupboard and it's a mess. Apart from anything else, I need to expand, I need to do this, I need to do that. Plus the fact that I spent the whole weekend on tenterhooks. They love dogs, they look after people's dogs for them. And if they were looking after my dogs, fine, I wouldn't be there to worry about it. But I was there to sort of look after my dogs, and I'm thinking, are they going to wee? Are they going to do this? Are they going to chew anything? And yeah, so tenterhooks. So it was a bit like great to get back here. But the poor dogs, I mean, they don't know whether they're coming or going. They've been in a house for 4 days. Then they came here, and they sort of know this house because it's over the road from the other house. They could smell her dog in the house. They've had a lot to get used to as well. So, but it's great. We're in, and that's taken me 10 minutes. And I've cut out all the to-ing and fro-ing and the nastiness on that lady's behalf. Yeah, because it's just not worth giving it airtime. But yeah, it was a drama. It was the longest move in history. But the more and more I'm talking to people, the more I'm finding out that people do this now. They don't complete on the day they say they're going to complete. They don't move on the day they're going to move. So I don't know what's wrong with people. My mum and dad moved house 6, 7 times. I never remember having any of this carry on. I really don't. I just remember my mum saying, we're moving on this day, and then we moved. So we're in the house. This is my new sewing room. I'm I'll do you a little guided tour. It's not going to be the full tour. I'll do the full tour. So this desk here, where I've got my 2 machines, see if I can tip you up and show you. Try not to show you the mess, which is going to be difficult because there's mess everywhere. So I've got my 2 pegboards. I did have one. I've bought a second pegboard. I've got my poster in the corner which says, my problem isn't that I buy too much fabric, my problem is I shop faster than I sew. Well, those of you that have been with me for a while will know I don't sew very fast. I bought a little wait a minute, transfery thing, sewing studio, and that's just a bit of bunting I made ages ago. It used to hang below the picture when I worked at the end of the kitchen. We have, ta-da, a Kallax unit finally. And I know people are going to say, we want to see your fabric, but you would not believe the state the fabric was when I'd shoved it all in there. I'll put some pictures in of the sewing room as it was, with all the boxes and things, and the Kallax unit before I had a chance to look at it. But I just decided that looked much neater. So we've got Vera there, we've got my spool, my threads, and we've got a picture of Millie, which is the only diamond art picture I ever did, but I absolutely love doing diamond art. Then if we come round here, back to where you were a second ago, this is my old sewing table. Well, not old, but my sewing table that moves up and down, and I'm using it as a cutting table in here, because obviously I can get the height right up so I'm not bending over to cut out. So this is the bit of sewing that I'm going to talk about in a second. I'll tell you all about that in a second. So yeah, so we've got Vera. I've managed to, let's just, see Vera, there we are, smile. Managed to get some pictures up, and a family photo there. Not sure how much of this you're going to see because obviously I can't see what you can see at the minute. Another Kallax unit behind the door, and I very I very generously gave my husband 4 of the cubes of the Kallax unit. Let's see if I can get a better shot of it this way. Trying to see the camera as I show you it. Yeah, so there's my brother overlocker up there. So yeah, I liked the cubes. Hubby didn't like the cubes, so he didn't want cubes, so that looks a bit of a mess. And I did say to him he could have this little corner of England if he kept it tidy, but that's my table there, so I can't really see anything, can I? And to be honest, it was just a relief to get everything connected and wired up and sorted out. So we come back down here, and yeah, we'll do a proper, let's see, oh, there we go. I will do a proper tour of where my bits are, and you know, where I'm keeping my threads, where I'm keeping my fabric, where I'm keeping all my bits and pieces and everything that's in the drawers when I do get a little bit more sorted, because at the minute when I'm looking for something in particular I have to open every Kallax box, which is, yeah, that's the joy of being able to see the fabric in the Kallax boxes, because you can actually see where it is straight away. But because I've got a really big window here, which if I kept the video, well, I still have got the video that I did yesterday, and I might pop a picture of the tree in if I can figure out how to do it. But it was a beautiful day yesterday. The light was so much better for vlogging. The sun comes up on this side of the house, and I know I will not remember to shut that blind every single night, especially for in the summer or in these lovely frosty mornings where it's a clear sky like it was this morning. It was beautiful. I don't want my fabric to like all fade, and it will get hit by the sun. I've checked. That's another reason for having the cubes. I'll like I say, I'll pop some pictures in, and you can see how, yeah, it just, I couldn't bear it. I couldn't bear it. I'd sort of packed up, and I lost my sojo a bit because everything was packed away. And then I saw Alison's video, Alison from So Like Dotty. Oh, by the way, Alison, happy birthday. I'm sorry I missed your birthday. But I forgot about the Sewn on Time social that was before your birthday. I just completely forgot. Oh, heads all over the place. Anyway, there was a Sewn on Time social that Alison organises. It's nearby me, and I try to make as many as I can. And I think it was the week I was moving, or the week I thought I might be going to move. So I just went a bit later, and I think I did stay till the end. I did eventually stay to the end, but I couldn't take, my sewing machines were all packed away. I couldn't easily get to fabric except little bits that I knew I had out. So what I did was I grabbed some fabric that I'd shown you in one of my last vlogs, which was on the top of a box somewhere. And it was this one. And so I took the Zadie pattern, Friday Pattern Company, the Zadie jumpsuit, and I've cut, obviously not, this isn't a bit of it because it's a raggy bit, but I've cut the Zadie jumpsuit out in this fabric. And yeah, I absolutely adore it. I love it. But it's obviously not Zadie weather now, especially not in a viscose. It might be in a thicker jersey or something, but certainly not in a viscose. It's not jersey weather now. So jersey weather, Zadie weather now. So I cut that out, and I was watching Ruan's vlog on getting your sojo back, and she had all these points that everybody recommended to try, and some said do easy projects that don't take you very long. Well, all my projects take me ages. It said make something that you used to making, which for me would be the Zadie. I have 3 or 4 already, but I couldn't have come back, and I couldn't have sewn anything because everything was packed away, and there was just so much to do in every room. I was determined I was going to get this room done first. And to be fair, hubby took me down to IKEA and we bought the Kallax units fairly early on, but we needed to clear a space so we could put them on the floor and build them up. And I built the big one myself. I was so proud. They go together so easily, and they're so light. It's absolutely brilliant. I'm totally in love with them. And then my sojo, it really, really did plummet again, because I was totally thinking about other things I had to do in the house. All these things Ruan mentioned, yeah, that's grand, but when you cannot actually get in and sew. So when I took my thing to cut out before we moved, and I took my thing to cut out at Sewn in Time, I did sort of get my sojo back a little bit then, because it was just fun seeing everybody else really getting into their projects. It was, you know, it was like, yeah, I do want to do this. For all I was standing cutting out, and then I got the banter. I met a lovely subscriber, bless her. So I went to make a coffee, and she says, I'm making, she came over, and I was showing where things were and everything. And I'm really, really bad at names, and I've forgotten her name. And I even asked one of the ladies there, what's her name again? Because I will forget. And I should have written it down, and I didn't. So I do apologise. But she was lovely. And we had a right good natter, and I just caught up with people, and it did me good. So my advice, if you've lost your sojo and you do go to a sewn social, or you know of one in the area, just take something tiny along to do, even if it's a repair or something like that. But get yourself along and just sit and have a chat with people. That, I think, is the best advice that I can give on that. When I wasn't able to sew at all because of all the boxes and everything was still packed away, that really, it boosted me to know that, yeah, the sewers are still out there, and I was a bit off grid. I've been watching vloggers on YouTube on the telly, but I can't comment on the telly and I can't like, it asks for a password and I don't know what it's on about. So let's get on to the sewing. I usually do digress. Anybody who's new here, I do blither on and I go off on tangents, and yeah, you'll get used to it. Please stay with me, please stay with me. Now comes the sewing. So my Sewn on Tyne social that I do go to when I remember it's on. The very first one I went to was near my birthday back in February, and a lovely lady called Vicky, Vicky is the Fibro Sewist on YouTube and Instagram. She brought in this gorgeous boiled wool for me. I'd never met her before in my life, couldn't believe it. And she said I was going to make myself a gilet out of it. I think there's about 2 meters. Well, 2 meters wouldn't make a gilet for me because she's so petite and I'm so huge. So I went straight on and ordered another 2 meters of it because I absolutely loved it. And I thought I'm going to have a jacket out of that. But as usual, I didn't get around to touching it. And she gave me the matching thread and the stuff she was going to use for lining. But again, the stuff she was going to use for lining, there wasn't probably enough for a jacket for me. So I bought this lining. And this would just be from Pound Fabrics. But isn't that gorgeous? Actually, the light's showing that up really, really well. I mean, I would make myself a shirt out of that. I think it's just so lovely. So I bought that, and that has been languishing in my pile of things to do since February. So there you go, caring so slowly. And I got a pattern of my lovely subscriber Linda, who is Granny Linda Sews, I think, on Instagram, and she makes some gorgeous things. She's just made a lovely flowery jumpsuit and it's just so bonny and so lovely. I just immediately want to go and make one myself. And I finally got round. She was going to give me this pattern for free, this Verona jacket pattern. Where is it? Up here. She gave me this pattern for nothing. It was brand new. So it is the Tessuti Fabrics Verona jacket, and I show you the line drawings. There you go. Because you cannot see because it's dark material. Why do they always pick dark material for things on the cover? I mean, I'm looking at it and in a decent daylight and I can barely make out the jacket on it. So I don't know if you can there, but anyway. So I thought, oh yes, make that, I'll make that. And she says, now you're going to make it. And I said, yes. Well, I haven't got round to it. So I met her for coffee, or I took her for coffee, because I said, well, at least let me pay you the postage. And she said, well, I live just round the corner from you, I'll just pop it round. So I was going to have her in for coffee when she came round, and her husband and her were going somewhere. So I said, I'll take you for coffee. And bear in mind, I got that in February. This must have been about March or April, and it's now October, and we just managed to go for coffee last week. And I thoroughly enjoyed myself. I had a good, sore throat cutting home. But I said, well, come round to the house. You can have the grand tour of the new abode, and I'll take you out for coffee. And she was like, oh no, I'll just have coffee at yours. And I went, no. You're getting coffee, at least. I had a good natter. And I told her, pardon me, that I was going to make a jacket. And I said, but I'm going to make a toile first, because I think there's just been a challenge, Precious Fabrics 24. Well, that boiled wool would be my precious fabric, and it obviously is, because I've never touched it since February. And I'm so conscious that Vicky gave me it back in February and it's not made up yet. But I thought, I've got to make a toile of this pattern because it has exposed, is it called exposed hems? The seams are overlapped and edges and hems are left raw. Well, the one I'm making the toile in is not a boiled wool. It's very much a summery thing. And it frays like Billy O, as you can probably see. There isn't any way I could leave those edges raw. So I thought what I will do is I'll just do the seams as I would normally for the toile, and then I'll figure out how to get neat looking seams. I am a bit worried about getting neat seams because you've obviously got to be very precise when you cut out, and I am rubbish at cutting out. Even with my Guggenheim scissors, I am rubbish at cutting out. So I have the toile cut out in this fabric, and for the lining, and this is the bit of sewing I've actually done, I am using this fabric, which is leftover fabric from when I made my sister a dressing gown about this time last year. So it's looking all right. If I put it around like that, it's, yeah. Can I get my arm down that sleeve without, God, can you imagine if I ripped it now? I mean, I've got a Gripix sweatshirt on, which is not a me made one, by the way, people. Just very much, so that's, and you have these little, like these little bits that are left at the end. You see where they, so that's your shoulder seam, and then you've got these bits here, and I think they must fasten in somehow under the arm to give it a little bit more space. I haven't sort of looked that far yet, but where it's said to overlap the seams and pin them down and then sew along the pin line, and then I've just done a normal seam. But Linda did give me a good tip, and she said make your lining a little bit bigger than, because you obviously you don't want it hanging down below your jacket, but you want to be able to have it to move and get your arm in, and you don't want it pulling on the jacket and stuff like that. So I was completely lazy mare, and the pattern I traced off the Tessuti pattern in the XXL, because that was another thing. The XXL goes up to a waist of 99 centimetres or 39 inches. Well, that's over 3 foot. I haven't got a 3 foot waist. Well, apparently I have. Yeah, but you know, if somebody said to you, what size is your waist? No, 3'3". It sounds horrendous, doesn't it? So yeah, I was a bit agog at that. I thought, right, never mind the medium. I always think medium or large, or medium too large, but double XL. Anyway, we'll see. It's probably a good job I am doing a toile. Lining's underway, and then I'm going to try and do something with it. I did wonder about overlocking the edges of all these pieces in a, like I've got a deep cerise pink, so that I could have the exposed seams, but I'm not sure how that would look. I have a tiny fabric haul for you, and I recorded a vlog for that yesterday. But I think I'm going to re-record that as well, because it only took 5 minutes, and we had a delivery in the meantime, and the dogs went crackers. Then my husband came home in the middle of it all and walked into the sewing room. I think I'm going to get one of those lights when I'm filming. I think I'm going to get red light, don't come in. You'll just have to wait. I think that's the only thing I can do. So I'll just do one more quick announcement. This is to Colin and Joan, who live around the corner from me. I understand, Colin, you're going through some more treatment, love. I'm thinking about you all the time. I've seen your Helen and chatted to her about it. And yeah, Godspeed, and I just hope, you know, stiff upper lip and all that. I'm rooting for you, kid. I am. I'm rooting for you. Big hugs to the pair of you, and I hope it's going okay. And that's it. Oh, and another 2 subscribers, my a couple of friends of my sister, Kate and Anne. Hello, I understand I've got 2 new subscribers and you, and thank you very much. And you're not sewers, but you do make jewellery, which is always good. So yeah, welcome to you, and welcome to anybody else if you're new. If I didn't say it at the beginning, I can't remember what I said now. Yet again, I've blithered on 37 minutes. And if you've stuck with me, while I've been away, I did lose a few subscribers, but I know they always sort of bounce back again once you start vlogging again on YouTube, hopefully. If you've stuck with me, thank you so much for doing that. I got loads of people asking how I was everything going okay, was I all right? And yes, I am. I'm absolutely tickety-boo and everything was going fine. I just knew I wasn't going to have time to vlog, or the space to vlog, or the energy to vlog whilst moving house. I hope you're all well, and I hope you continue to be, and I hope you've had time to sew if that's your thing. And I will be back with a little fabric haul and a proper tour of the sewing room, and hopefully a finished toile of that Verona jacket, hopefully. So take care, everybody. If you're new and you've liked what you've seen, can you please subscribe? That would be great. I should have said that about 10 minutes ago, and possibly should have said it at the beginning as well. And also, I love to hear from people, and I love it when people comment. So if you've got any questions you want to ask, if you want to see anything in particular, if you'd like a house tour, you're more than welcome to have a house tour. Not that special, very similar to the house I lived in before. And of course I'll do my sewing room tour, and I'll show you in more detail what we've got where, in what drawer, etc. Okay, I'm going to go now. I'm going to shut up. I'm going to get this edited, and I'm going to get it uploaded. Take care, everybody. Bye now.